Okay, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar by the
Mo-
Directorate of Research, Plateau State University. And we are glad you were able to join us. We're hoping that others will join as we progress. We have a distinguished academic who will be talking to us today on building a life of academic excellence beyond promotion-driven academia. One of the things we know is that the university system it's promotion dependent, and a lot of persons value that a lot. But we're hoping that at the end of this talk, we'll now begin to look at beyond getting promotion. How can we build a life of academic excellence? To give this wonderful talk is nobody other than Professor Ikechukwu Moses Ikegbunam. Professor Moses Ikegbunam is a highly respected molecular scientist and senior academic based in Nigeria with deep expertise in molecular biology, pharmaceutical microbiology, and biotechnology. He serves as a professor in the Department of Pharmaceutical Microbiology and Biotechnology at Nanda Azikiwe University, Oka, where he has played key roles both in teaching and research. As the founder of Molecular Research Foundation for Students and Scientists, Professor Ikegbunam is committed to expanding access to modern molecular training, research support, and laboratory facilities for students and early career research scientists in southeastern Nigeria. His work includes mentoring young researchers, leading collaborative malaria genomics and molecular diagnostic projects, and speaking at major scientific forums such as Royal Society for Tropical Medicine and Hygiene annual meeting. Professor K. Bunam's research span antimicrobial resistance, malaria genetics, genotype, and evidence-based laboratory techniques, and he has contributed to numerous scientific publications in these fields. His leadership in the MRFSS reflects a strong commitment to building local capacity and enabling high-impact research in this region. Prof. K. Bunam, we're glad to have you talk to us, and
Thank
you
you.
you have the floor at the moment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Iman Nadi, on this mentorship forum. And I'm very glad to be part of this because um, this I will note clearly that this is a phase of life. I think where we have arrived now, we have to contribute meaningfully to ensure that those who are coming after us, they are properly guided. Hence this meeting. So already I've been introduced. I don't need to do that again. I have a few slides here just to initiate the discussion for us to discuss together. Maybe my video helps. Yeah. Okay. To guide our discussion this morning, there are questions I believe many early career academics are quietly asking. Okay, first is how do I publish enough without losing quality? How do I become promotable without becoming promotion obsessed? Yeah. How do I build a career that remains meaningful after each title is achieved? So the answer is not to ignore promotion, but to put excellence first. All right. Now, I have a foundational scripture for this. I've read Bible for some time, and probably if you are not of this faith, there's a wisdom to drive from this. And this Isaiah 37:31 said something, and I just want to read it as I captured it here, not the way it is in the Holy Book. Yeah, so the remnant shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. So the principle is that what people see upward is sustained by what you build downward. So the first is roots first, then fruits after. And if you look at this particular picture here, um, you could see that everything about this tree is all supported by this root. And one of the features of a root is that root grows continually. All through his life, it's continued to grow. And everything you see as evidence of this particular tree here, it's all dependent on this particular root. Now, having gone through academic phases in Nigeria and also some exposure outside, it became very clear that a lot of us at this early career stage have missed it because not much attention has been paid on the roots. And today we are going to take the roots. I have 7 of them, the academic roots you ought to take so that, I mean, your fruits will be sustained, which is an evidence. If you spend much time on these roots, the obvious truth is that there will be evidence with time. Whether you are conscious about it or not, you will see that you will produce, you will see that you will make impact, you will see that you will be properly defined afterward. So let me repeat this academic principle again, that what you see upward in some person is sustained by what you build downward. So again, roots first, fruits after. Now, promotion is a legitimate outcome, actually is not the deepest foundation. Now, we want to look at the promotion-driven career and the excellence-driven career. Of course, he chases points and titles. He loves to be called a doctor. He loves to be called a professor. He chooses speed over depth. You know, he measures what by rank. But I know that in the course of my career, I've met a lot of persons that obviously, some are even not having PhD yet. Some are just doctor, but they are very deep in knowledge. They have grown well. They have spent a lot of time at the root stage of their life to build capacity. And these people that are promotion driven, they grow anxious, especially when delayed. When their promotion is delayed, they build anxious. Now, we need to shift this, and we need to shift this to excellent driven career, especially I believe that most of us who are here today are at this stage of our career. Now, we could shift to building competence and character, choose quality and contribution. Now, you do not measure what by rank anymore, but by impact. Now, eventually, for those who will take through this route, promotion will become evidence. Promotion eventually become an evidence. Now, do not build your career around promotion criteria alone. Build a career so strong that promotion becomes evidence in the end. Now, what are the roots of excellence? Now, I have 7 here, and I'm going to take them one-on-one and discuss with you. Of course, probably in the end, if you have questions, we can also talk around them. But these are the 7 of them, the academic identity. Most of us are not properly identified in our field. What exactly are you working on? What exactly is your own research question? And if I should tell you the truth at this beginning or at this stage, early career, at this early stage of your career, I will say to you that you don't need to know more than 2. You don't need to have more than 2 research questions. You just need to have one and focus and go deep. Grow deep, not wide. Eventually, you will come up wide anyway. But the first is going down deeply. So that is one. Then, down at your stage, you have a lot of courses to teach. It's also important to develop that route at this stage. Then your research must go deep. Then you must also maintain integrity. Then mentorship and network, discipline, and service and leadership. Now, I want to take them one on one. The route one that you need to begin to take is clarity of your academic identity. A scattered academic really becomes an excellent academic. That sometimes you check your profile, you check what you have published over time, and you discover that obviously you have no name. You have 30 papers, 40 papers, but they're not really focusing on anything. They focus, but obviously on many things, and that could not define what you are doing. So the early question that will save your years Many people who are professors at the moment have attained at age that they need to make an inaugural lecture. What delays inaugural lecture is because of lack of academic identity. You obviously do not know where have you spent your years, because your name appear in many papers, and these papers are, I mean, were quite diverse. They are talking about many things, though it could be in the same area, but it's not narrowing at all. So the early question that saves your, what field are your years are, number one, what field I am really building in? What problem should my work help solve? Maybe I will tell you that why I'm in malaria genetics today is because I saw a gap in Southeast Nigeria. And the very first paper we have had in this, of course, a lot of citations already around it, because I knew that I need to contribute to provide this data, that informed a lot of things around my own area in Nigeria. So what methods must I master to contribute credibly? I will still talk about this in the course of this presentation, because it's unfortunate that many of us at our early stage of PhD could finish PhD, but there's no skill. Could finish PhD, but you obviously don't know because you outsource most of those things to people to help you to do. So in the end, you do not know the things you should do. What should people remember me for in 10 to 15 years? So friends, this morning, focus is not limitation. Focus is how depth begins. That is how it starts. Now, route two is the teaching mastery. Of course, I know at your level now, you have a lot to teach. In our own department, at our level, we have less to teach. Yeah, but at your level, you have much to teach. And this is time to prepare beyond the minimum. Explain difficult ideas. Now, when you are all around this theoretical framework and you are reading, you are doing a lot at your roots. You are building knowledge. You have the theoretical background that even informs some of the researches you are doing or you will do in the future. Teach and be a dedicated teacher, update content with current knowledge, mentor students into discipline and curiosity. And the effect of this is, of course, you have command of fundamentals. So in my lab in Germany, obviously in the course of presentation we do every Thursday, you hear our professors asking, what is textbook saying about this particular, concept? Now they have left your data you are presenting, and the next question is what textbook is saying, because you are expected to have known. So while now you have opportunity to teach, which I call your route two, investing in your route two, excuse me, get yourself deeply committed to doing it and doing it well. Don't be that guy that releases handouts and just give area of concentration to the students, but you are not there to teach. You are not there to guide because you also lack the knowledge. So please, in developing roots, because of the fruits that we are anticipating around you, around your academic life in the future, I will ask you to please teach well. Now, the effect again is it's going to increase your communication skill, visibility among students and colleagues. And these are the things that make students to choose you. In my university, of course, most master's degree and PhD, the students are themselves given the opportunity to choose their teachers, their supervisors by themselves. And sometimes it's because of the impact you have made in the past that could attract them around your life again. So please be very dedicated in teaching because that builds a lot of knowledge also around it. So do not despise teaching while pursuing research. Excellent academics integrate both. All right, now research depth. Move from I need to republish to I need to contribute. I've already mentioned what led me to malaria genetics, the antimicrobial resistance, and at molecular level. Now, it's because of a wide gap I saw. It's because I saw that our colleagues in southwest of Nigeria have obviously gone ahead of us, in this area of research. And I felt that no, I have to say what is going on in the community of parasites in my own region. So depth question before publication is the research question important. Is the method appropriate and reproducible? Is the data clean and honestly interpreted? Does the paper add knowledge or only add numbers? Is the journal credible? Now, any of us that are committed at this route three, you will delay. I mean, this is where you spend most of your time in academics. And sometimes it appears to be slower. You are slower because you are asking this question. And Nigeria, I know, if you are such that ask this question often, some persons will begin to avoid you. That you are known to delay. You are known not to be fast. And I want to announce to you that this is not a career that is meant to be fast. Having gone around, having worked in some international labs, there is nothing called fast. Of course, each of us we must be dutiful enough to be able to, I mean, meet deadline and all of that. But in terms of data generation, there is nothing fast about this. We must be sure. We must be able to interpret and our data honestly and spend a lot of time on the method, even repeating over and over, So quality is slow at first, but stronger over time. So I will ask you, or maybe I will still come to this in the course of the presentation, especially those of us that are doing PhD. I've had time of passing through PhD students, and the concern from day one is, when will I finish? And my own story, which I will still tell in the course of the presentation, I had a supervisor that is also in university politics, and I have to supervise myself. Choosing topics, choosing what to focus on was not informed by time. It was informed how shall what we on what platform or what niche, where will I last? How will I last at the end of my PhD? What will sustain the progress of my research even after PhD? What will add to my relevance at the end of PhD? These were the questions in my mind. And by then I got to know what we call terminal PhD. That is, it ends there. And it cannot also compete favorably if you're about to compete for international postdoc. It has to be competed, but it's the quality of what was done during PhD, of course, that facilitates that easy and easier for you. So please, let's spend time on this route three, the research depth. Let's be clear of what we want to communicate and what informs your data. Then the route four is your integrity. Reputation is academic capital. Protect it carefully. It will backfire over time. There's one man, I mean, that was posted in our professorial forum in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, and he's a Chinese guy, but ChatGPT messed him up. Yeah, he was messed up. I mean, the references are not aligning, a lot of things. He just generated all of those things there, and it's unfortunate for him at the moment. So there are shortcuts that destroy your roots, and I want to ask you to avoid them. One of them is plagiarism or careless copying. Now, there are things I'll be saying here that you even need more, I mean, more time. You need to spend more time to learn this. You need to spend more time to understand it, like plagiarism. What informs it? How do you avoid it? Which may not have the time to do here. Fabricated or manipulated data. This is common. Even supervisors and the supervisee have been seen, collaborating together to fabricate the data, just to make sure that the guy gets the PhD and move on. This is unfortunate. This destroyed the roots. I don't want to be a professor that is not obvious to people what I'm professing. I don't want to be a professor that you will discover that I'm not confident in what I'm saying. If you look at my data and you look at my knowledge base, you discover that they cannot correlate because of fabrication and manipulation of data. These things destroy the roots. Now, predatory journals is also one of them. You submit tonight and they're publishing it tomorrow. Please be very much afraid of that journal and run away. Every good journal takes time. I am telling you. A PhD student just submitted one of our works to BMC infectious diseases. I promised her that it will not be less than 6 months. I know this. I know this, but you learn a lot. You will see peer review at high level. You will see that people understood what you are doing earlier before you, and they were making genuine input, asking the right question. These things build during your root time. And at this point, you don't need to be talking about promotion because it will come. Even if it's delayed because your route is taking time, I will prefer you get a better route than running and eventually you are not a man of substance. Gift authorship and authorship disputes. These are the things that destroy roots. Gift authorship, I will put your name. You gift people authorship. Not that even your network and all of that. But you see that when you look at some of your papers, there are many papers that you have that obviously you contributed nothing. You did not work you didn't write the first draft. The data you did not, you didn't analyze the data. You did nothing. But you already form a network of people we
Your face.
call the put my name network. Yeah, put my name syndrome. Yes, when we check in Google Scholar, it could give you 100 papers with high index. But the truth is that, are you truly representing that particular number of papers? And the Oyibo also understand this when they check us up online, and they're not moved by this. I will tell you of an award I won in Cambridge in UK. It's just 5 papers. Just provide 5 papers, and that was what competed and some other essay that we have to write. All right. Now, practices that protect integrity is one. Keep accurate research records. Now, probably you are supervising students or you are still doing your PhD. Keep accurate research. Don't assume. Don't write triplicate when it was a duplicate. Use proper citation and similarity checks. Agree authorship early. Report limitations honestly. Yeah, there's a work also published also in this BMC infectious disease. It took 1 year. Yeah, I was the corresponding author and I was the one looking at and responding to the reviewers. I learned that, you see, I mean, if you could be clear about the limitations and follow the right path of science, no one will reject your paper. But you see, trying to claim what you do not do will be an issue. Report your limitations. Say what you did and say why you did not do what you ought to do. Then choose journals carefully. There's a colleague, he's a junior colleague in my faculty. He knew I could search, I can check on journals. So usually when he wants to make a decision of journal, ask me, Mo, can you help me to confirm this? And I will confirm. And they say it looks like it, but it's not it. So choose journals carefully because in the end, you may discover that these are predatory journals and it's not good for you. Now, a title may announce you, but substance and integrity will sustain this. This is very important. Once academic, I think you'll be academic all through life. Even when you retire, even your image could be dented because after retiring, one paper like that started speaking against you, started speaking against your integrity. And that will not be good. And it's not a very good way to die, with that kind of story around your life. Now, root 5, you need to focus on now is mentorship, collaboration, and network. No serious academic grows alone. Build your growth cycle. I don't know. I will ask you to be urgent about this if at the moment you have no serious committed ship going on with a senior colleague in your field. This is critical. Now I'm a professor, but all of them that were professors that brought me up, I'm not a professor to them. In fact, there is a paper we just submitted on scientific report under Nature. I was the one that, like a postdoc, working on this paper for my mentor, who is being a professor before me. And I report to him, because I see that once a mentor, forever a mentor. And he's not yet very much old, so he has strength for us to keep pushing. Then I told my heart, don't be a professor at heart, just be working hard and be serving the senior ones who have brought you up in the academics. This is very important. So I will ask you to look for one if you don't do. Find peer colleagues who are in your field who can challenge and also support you. External collaborators who expand your standards. There are level of science I never knew until I started collaborating with my German scientists. Of recently with those in Switzerland, and it's another level. In fact, I felt that Switzerland they are higher than Germany because the standard is high, and I'm seeing this. I am seeing this. It was external collaborators that brought this effect in my life. Now, professional communities that keep you visible. Respectful networking is not begging. Of course, if we are talking about networking today, I will tell you that you have your role to play. There's a value you need to add to a network so that you remain relevant in the network. So it is how knowledge communities are built. Now, route number 6 is discipline and consistency. Discipline and consistency. And if you do not imbibe this, why you are a PhD student, it might be difficult to do this even after PhD. How we celebrate the PhD sometimes seems to be the peak for many of us. But for me, PhD is the beginning of the career. Excellence is built by repeated practices, not occasional enthusiasm. And I pray and I wish that we will be men and women of discipline and consistency in what we do. Read. Not many still read now. Write. Before ChatGTP, please write. If you don't have in your mind how to write a paper, how to flow in writing, and you are leveraging strongly on AI, you will be soon you'll be among those people that your integrity will so much be questioned in the field. Develop your domain expertise such that AI could be a support. We provide a support to you, not relying on it because you have never written. People, everything about in the academic career has been contracted over time. This is not healthy for you. So you need to start writing. You need to start practicing it. Maybe time we fail, most of the papers I wrote, my very first paper in PhD, I have to travel to Bomosho, not to Bomosho, Shobo, where my malaria mentor lives. Stayed in his house writing paper for 1 week. For 1 week. And all of those corrections, all of those things we are doing when we are at the very serious root stage of our career, it was building us. I know what should be in every structure, in every segment of a paper. I know what I'm anticipating or expecting. I know what should be the last paragraph of our introduction. I know what should be even in what should be the first sentence, in your discussion. This is by doing. This is by doing. Keep record, keep data, mini drafts. This costed me a particular work I did with undergraduate students, and this is patentable. But when we approached the office to patent and we discovered that our record is not clear, is not what it should be. And we are going back to repeat that again because it's not yet disclosed, but now with force of discipline to ensure that we record what we ought to record. Write papers, spend time writing grants, get ready to be rejected, move on to another one when rejected. It's part of it. So you treat rejection as a revision, not death. This is not your life. This is not your life. It's what your hand finds doing in life, and we are enjoying it. Repeat, make productivity a rating. Make sure you are repeating. Repeat. Small discipline action repeated over years become academic weight. So you could see that someone who first came to academic for promotion may not be that patient. to wait and learn and be built so that he can be a man of weight. My professor that first supervised me in masters, even in PhD, of course, he's a man of the lab. He was a dean one time, and we're in the lab, and he has to come from his office to come and get some experiments, clear and tidied before going back to the office. They came from the lab. They became professors from the lab. But not many. Many wants to become the professor from the market, not from the lab. And this is not healthy for you. All right. Then route 7 is service and leadership. Serve wisely, but do not lose the core of your academic calling. I have a clear concern about this. I have a clear concern about this, and that moves me to the service danger, because many persons replace scholarship with administration. You want to be HOD, and that is the season of your life. You should be in postdoc. And I've seen many who ought to be at the root stage of their life, spending the entire time in administration in the university. You are available for everything. All the meetings of ASU, all the meetings are going on, you are available. We need to replace and call our priority to order again. I'm not saying you should not attend meeting, but you should be able to prioritize accordingly so that you will be available for the core reason that brought us to university. Okay? Then, neglecting writing and research time is danger. And also, eventually, you are burning out while appearing busy, but there is no evidence. There's no evidence. So, busy is not the same as fruitful. It's not the same as fruitful. You are like departmental meetings, you like all of those meetings, and these are choking your years in academics, but you could not also stay awake at night to be able to make up for the time spent during the day doing meetings. Please serve. I've been able to, I've been blessed serving. I've had opportunities while serving, but all of that was service that we are very, very careful, to render. There are academic service. There are things you can do during departmental conference. Please be committed. Do all of that. Review abstract if you are told to do. Do it on time. Move the department forward. But please know that this is not your own core academic, what you need to do. You need your own table where you are growing, and you need time to be in this your table to grow yourself. All right? Now, from local roots to global fruits, excellent academic builds local relevance and eventually international credibility. Start with the problems around you. Use methods the world can trust. Collaborate without losing ownership. Make your work useful beyond your institution. Now, my own journey, that is where I want to move on from now. My academic journey can be read as roots before fruit. So I know clearly the time I spent in training, and it's a whole lot of years. Then training leads to the competence and the feasibility and the recognition. We are recognized. We had fellowships. We had awards that came out of those years. But obviously, when we are spending the time building our foundation, we never know that we have recognition. We never knew this will come our way. So the fruit become visible because the roots were being built quietly. Now, I'm going to talk into these things in the next slide where I started. Yes, I had a good master's. My samples was able to, handled by a very senior professor today who I collaborated with and was doing his postdoc in University of Bonn in Germany then. But I couldn't get there myself during the master's. But I worked so much hard that I had a lot of papers coming out, published in high impact factor, even while doing masters. I mastered it. I led through all the 100 and something literatures that we reviewed. Now, it is in the current time that I could see that students do not read literatures. ChatGPT and AI can give you all the papers, but within you, you are empty. And this is not healthy for where you are going. You need to read those papers. I read to the point that those who are still doing ESBL, that was my focus in masters, when they come for presentation, I know all the references, even years after. I know all the references because I've spent time chewing this and reading. These days, AI can help you to access these papers easily, but you have the responsibility to read. If AI is reading for you, you are hurting your roots. You are meant to spend time doing that. So I want to say that my roots, I want to exclude masters, even though that a lot were added during my masters, because it was a sincere masters, it was a genuine masters. And if you look at my profile there, you see a lot of people I have in extended spectrum beta lactamase. And these were outcome of my masters. Now, during PhD, I have to start refocus my identity to malaria. I developed the discipline of sustained research work. We love research. We want to be in the lab. We never knew that one day we'll be told to document your papers for promotion. We never knew that it's going to come. But the drive was first to do it well. The drive was first to have a clean data and be available, for that. So during my PhD, I learned that excellence requires patience before visibility. Build the inner capacity needed for later opportunities. There are several of us, the way you are going with your PhD, no one will hire you for postdoc because you mess yourself in the lab. After 1 week, you will be withdrawn. That is the obvious. When I arrived for postdoc, they told me wholly that I didn't come to learn, that I came to, solve problems. And that was quite challenging. But thankfully, I already built some capacity. That's why I say that I built inner capacity needed for later opportunities. Do not rush the hidden season of your academic life. Capacity is formed during that time. And I want to say that is majorly during your PhD. Do it well. Don't, uh, don't be lenient on yourself. I know issues of finances could come much later, but first decide that something quality will come out of your research. Now, the route I built, now I had opportunity of having my research internship. That is my PhD. I did some in Nigeria. I did my bench work in Germany. And that was my first exposure to work in an international lab and see how research had been executed. So in 2016, my PhD research in Germany expanded my technical roots and exposed me to stronger molecular research standards. Now, already you have heard that I'm a molecular biology applied to malaria, Now, there I was able to generate all of this data on genetic diversity tracking using the merosal sulfate proteins and the glutamate-rich protein. And also track drug resistance, looking at the PFCROT. These are the genetic basis of drug resistance, And it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. But thank God that I had that opportunity. Technical competence often precedes academic confidence. This is where we began to grow confidence in what we do because we were there in the lab. We spend time optimizing one particular gene to amplify. We spend time designing a probe that will be able to fit in to amplify the gene of interest. And this could fail for 1 month. You have not succeeded in 1 month. What's going on there is that you are building technical competence. And that will lead to confidence you will have tomorrow. I want you to desire that beyond theory, which you gain as I encourage you to teach well, read well, to teach your students, but it's good find and look for a space for technical, competence. It's going to help you. When you teach master students, PhD students, they will feel your lecture because you are not coming out from knowledge only, also from technical experience. So depending on the area of your own research, please, if there is technical component to this, please make sure and try to get hands-on in it. Now, that's my group in Germany. At that moment, I'm the only black guy with these people. And that is the platform that I would say that led to visible fruit in my career. So I had the DAD-funded postdoc at that institute, and I spent time. The COVID interrupted, but that even pushed me into, into other forms of research. I joined the vaccine group because we need to develop vaccine against COVID in the lab, which we call the QVAC vaccine. So I joined the immunology team. So then I began to learn clinical trials and other things that today I found I was assigned some courses to teach. They never knew that I have practical experience around clinical trials. And as I was teaching, my student never knew that I'm a molecular biologist anymore. They thought I'm no longer molecular biologist anymore, but a clinical scientist. I said, yes, I had this opportunity while I was in for DAD funded postdoc at that institute. Then after the DAD, I was also absorbed at the institute as a postdoctoral researcher, from January 2020 for 3 years. I was doing that. Then within 2024, I had an award in genomic epidemiology of malaria, you know, not compete, yes, competed with 5 first author publication in Impact Factor Journal. Now, why I have to outline this is, friends, the days of the root development were when I had this paper. When what was driving me is the quality of paper you published. What is the impact factor? I wasn't looking at my university to know, are they using Google Scholar to make professor? Actually, they are using Google Scholar, but it's been long, they were never my standard. If they were my standard, I won't win this award. I saw in the global space that there is something I need to compete outside, not even Nigeria. And at the end of the day, when it was even time to be a professor, I also became a professor. I remember I have many papers I didn't submit because I think I have gone beyond what they needed based on their own criteria. So that happened in 2024. So some of the fund I got from this also took me to Swiss TPS, Tropical Medicine in Switzerland, Basel, as a visiting researcher. Now, I would have mentioned some of the skills I got, while of this. Now, after PhD, I'm already good in polymerase chain reaction, rate-time PCR, and a lot of molecular skills. Now, when I went to Swiss TPH, now I also now started to explore nanopore sequencing, which some of you here already you are using your own as per malaria genotyping, as per malaria genotyping. So the Switzerland gave a platform to learn this and also to learn Illumina, which we apply in what we call MAT4 in sequencing, a very big panel. Now, by 2026, I was made a professor. And this is a fruit of years of roots, not beginning of the journey. Now, but importantly, because roots never stop growing, I want to announce to you that we are still working on the roots. We are still developing roots. We are still building. Some of you who know me may know that I have some bioinformatics skills also. Now, I'm still going on and on to write my paper, analyze my data, make sure things are fine, decide a lot of things that sometimes I feel I have a postdoc that should be doing that for me. But I knew that following my age and becoming so professor so early, then I need also to continue developing my roots. So message to you this morning is build the roots so the fruits can be trusted over time. Then the 10 commitment that leads to excellence. I will want you to observe this, and as this is being recorded, probably you will go through this again. But I want to talk on 4, 4, and 6. 1, choose a clear research needs. You cannot do everything. You cannot research in everything in your own area. Find something and focus on it. All right? Start going deep in it. Now, but you may see that your rate of publication will start slowing because it's now narrowed. That is what it ought to be. Because during the time of root development, it's not time for fruits. And it will take time. Roots takes time so that it can carry the fruits, that will come after. Now, I want to move to 4. Take note of the rest. They are part of the commitments you need. But number 4 is master methodology. If you're doing your PhD, I would want you to decide that you will not send your sample analyzing where you are not part of the analysis. What will you learn at the end of the day? Yeah, maybe you don't know how to do bioinformatics analysis and you're asking some of us how to help you. Now, it's also important that you look for a training to learn how it was done for you. At the end of masters, you ought to master something. At the end of PhD, you need to be in control of a particular workflow. A workflow that when you go to conferences, when others are saying what they know, you should say what you know and what is your own area. That's where we counsel you this morning to be careful with AI. Let AI not study for you. Study with AI, but make sure that the stuff gets inside you. Our quality is going down because of these two called AI. It gives you ability to make a nice a nice thesis. You write proposal, you write it up immediately and send to supervisor. Now I graduated 2 masters who came before external examiner, but they need AI to answer questions. They need to ask ChatGPT what the external supervisor is asking because the stuff is not in them, but is in their thesis. Master methodology. Also, your data analysis. Data analysis is getting easier. Know the backgrounds of R and understand basic script language. And if AI supports you, you should be able to use it to do data analysis. Build honest collaboration, but I say I won't go into all of this. Number 6, I want to say to you, attend conferences with purpose. Plan conferences ahead of time. Who is coming? That is where I got my Switzerland collaborator. He's in a conference. And I went to him with a proposal of some biological resources I have. They don't have. Of course, you present what you have that they don't have. He paid for my accommodation, welcome me in the institute, and we started a project that, in fact, he is the corresponding author, I'm the first author. He just finished the final review of that paper, still on nanopore sequencing as applied to malaria genetics. Attend conferences with purpose. Don't just go to conferences to take pictures and to tell your colleague that you are flying when you are actually not flying. Go to conferences with purpose. Participate in the science. Prepare ahead of time. Who are you going to meet? You search some authors, some speakers, some resource persons, and discover that they are your own area of research. Write them before the conference. I'm coming. This is my area. I want us to talk further. They will tell you, all right, we see, and all of that. You can even make appointments. That is even how to get your postdoctoral, hosts. Because sometimes most of you have not broken through in the postdoc because of the matter of who will host you in the country. But through conferences that is purposeful conference, you will be able to sort out all of that. Now, as you are making progress, keep records because at the end of the day, you need a proper record for promotion because promotion will surely come in the end. So for promotion committee, this is what the accounting, degree, certificate, publication, none of them will assess you. It's only in Germany that I saw that they don't count all these things. You have to come and make a presentation and take question, write a thesis as if to say you are doing another PhD. I saw this happen before me in the group leaders who became professors. But Nigeria have not attained that level. So now we are looking at this. But all of these that they're looking at, nobody will ask you, are you really competent? Did you really contribute? Are they credible enough? So documentation supports promotion, but depth sustains impact. Common traps early career must avoid. Promotion pressure can push good people into poor patterns. You're waiting for promotion before becoming excellent. It will be unfortunate. Please avoid that. Publishing anywhere just to add numbers, and you're asking your colleague, I just had another paper now and I'm heading to 51. It's not important. What is the value of the paper? What is the impact of the paper? Don't publish just anywhere. Copying another person's academic journey. Fighting senior colleagues instead of learning wisely. Most of us, you are too young for the battle you are fighting in the department. You are fighting. You have a temperament that will not allow you to grow. You can't submit. You can't submit to someone else. And this is a problem. As I mentioned to you that all my mentors, I am convinced that they're forever mentors. They are still my sir. They are still my sir. They are still the persons I address as sir. You greet them good morning, but they don't greet you in return. It's not a problem, even though I'm a professor. But I know that these are the ones to continue following because their own network have entered their network. And as their own network is expanding, I'm expanding. We tracked HRP2 deletion in parasite recently in Nigeria. It's a national research. with Humboldt Grant. I was the one responsible for Southeast. It's because there's somebody I'm answering, sir. I was the one, I'm part of the paper. So you wouldn't be growing because the career is not designed that you will run alone. It is designed that, so when you start fighting, it will be unfortunate. Now, mistaking activity for productivity. You are so much into university activity, but you don't know that this is not productivity as well. And becoming bitter over delayed recognition. Please, if I were you, I will reset my mind, not even to desire to be recognized. If it shall come, it shall come. Your work shall speak for you if you have worked hard, if you have served when you should serve. Promotion can open a door, but poor habits can close the door. So please, all this that promotion pressure, you go to attend people's burial for them, for their mother, just because there's a paper you'll be added and all of those things that should not govern academics. But you see that happening because of promotion. Now you are working so hard because you know that in the next 3 months, 4 months, you are going to be appraised. Therefore, you will not submit in a very good journal that will take their time to review. So what do? You now go to the Indian guys that publish after 3 days and pay a lot of money. Now, it's good to approach academics with enthusiasm and passion so that you will enjoy it. Enjoy what you are doing. Don't just fight through just to make it to be there, even while you know that, yeah, I mean, the standard is largely compromised. Now, I will ask you for a practical personal roadmap, depending on your stage. I don't know where you are in this, but you see, I will ask you to start with defining your niche. Strengthen the method, what you know. Build reading and writing rhythm. Publish quality work. Join serious collaborations in your second year. Plan this. Plan this because promotion files are prepared over years, not in the month of assessment. Not in the month of assessment. I remember in those days when it's time for assessment, I know I would just go and my Google Scholar. I wouldn't even go to PubMed and just pack everything there and give because I know something would have added there because we are working hard somewhere. Final charge. Take root. Build depth. Bear fruit. Build competence. Build character. Build useful research. Build people when you have come to that particular stage. Now I've come there. So in my lab in Unizik, we're having 4 master scholars that on 50% scholarship, but their project will be 100%, supported. And I've done that in the years past. Most of them, one of them clearly is in Cambridge now because after us, he moved on. And so they will move on. So I also come to a point that we can be conscious of building people who likes our part as well. Build yourself also. Promotion may change your title, but excellence changes your impact. Yeah. Building a life of academic excellence requires roots before fruits, depth before display, and impact beyond titles. Thank you this morning. And probably there could be questions and reflections around all we have shared together. Morning. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. This
Hope I
actually,
haven't been talking to myself.
thank you very much. And this is
All right.
really, really interesting. I will personally make sure some of this video, I think this video will try to see how we can push it on because these are key things that young people need. And as they are growing, and I said, I assume there's no better person that could have given this depth of how thank you very much, Prof, for your time. We'll be opening for questions. Um, mm, no, no, no. I don't know who is talking. So we'll be opening up for questions. So please, if you have question, just indicate by raising up your hand, and then we would ask you to yes, we'll ask you to ask your question. Please, questions, comments, before we yes. Do you have questions? We should have questions, obviously. Do you have questions? Okay. Somebody's raised up his hand. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask question. Yeah, Geshinen. Yes.
Good morning, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prof, for the presentation. My question is concerning the use of AI. You spoke about the use of AI and how the AI is gradually replacing or is actually bringing down the quality of researchers, where you discover that most of the papers that people publish right now, they heavily depend on the AI to write a paper and so many other things like that. So my question is, AI has come and people are using it in the research. But the point is, how do we supposed to use the AI in an appropriate way, in such a way that it will not compromise the standard of our research? Because honestly, even our students, the undergraduate students, are using AI to write their research, their project work. And so everybody is actually involved with the use of the AI so much such that it has really affect a lot of things in our research today. And you discover that somebody who wrote a very good research cannot be able to defend it, cannot be able to say many things in the research. He can't even defend it. So the point is, how are we supposed to use this AI in an appropriate way, in such that it will not affect the quality of our work, and even though you use the AI, you can still defend your own work appropriately. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Geshina, my first response will be probably in the near future, Dr. Emma will arrange, AI talk, should be extensive. There are a lot to say about that. But to say in passing to you concerning I will ask you to do the things you used to do before AI arrived. And ask AI the questions you would want to ask someone, but probably nobody is close by to answer your question. You can ask AI those questions, especially if you have a good version of the AI. To rely on the question and the answer provided. But I would want you to focus, because if we're looking at those who are in the early career stage, now this is a stage to build your domain expertise. This is not the season to allow machine to be running your mind for you. You should keep running your mind. Now, till now, I will still want to write all my thoughts, everything, write my English into AI if I ever would need AI to be able to, not AI do for me, I will do. I'm the one to do. So with that, I can still have a flow in my mind. Now, when your domain expertise is not developed, AI will mislead you. AI will frustrate your research. So I will ask you to continue doing the things you know how to do, or before the AI, arrive. Keep writing on your own. And now, because after PhD, in my personal recommendation, if you haven't finished PhD or at the terminal end of the PhD, do not approach AI, because that will deny you the domain expertise development, your own head. Now, I was talking to my undergraduate students, counseling them to leave AI for now, that they need to read handout and all of those and pass exam. Develop your mind so that you can even guide and direct AI accordingly, so that you can guide and direct. Now, in European Union, of course, they have no problem using AI, but you must reference AI if used. If you use AI to generate the first draft, please, you have to say that. Sometimes, even in my lab in Germany, I've seen AI used to generate the very first draft. But by the time we are done with the scripts, it's already a different thing altogether. Where people write together, where people still have the domain expertise, they can sit on a content from AI, and at the end of the day, you just discover that it's being humanized. Not trying to humanize, but putting a law that the AI itself, of course, was not able to catch. in that particular paper. And these are people who have been trained to know that even this direction the AI is going is quite wrong. So I will say, Kashina, continue building yourself depending on your stage of your career. Write your English yourself. Practice it. Now, there are things AI can help you to proofread. In fact, I love those who could just use AI to proofread what is originating from you. You start dying academically when AI start originating for you. Then your mind is no longer working. You are no longer developing. So that's my submission to that. I know that people have different opinion and perspective to this, but this I will continue to say to those who are following me so that in the end, they will have substance. Now, again, use AI to build stuff inside you. There are some courses I've approached to go and read, and I discovered that, AI just broke the thing very, very simple for me. I didn't go to class teaching AI, but what it did to me was that I had information, I have the stuff, but inside me, no longer on ChatGPT platform. If you can get the people you are mentoring to move the information into them, that will be fine. So that we have men and women of substance that are growing to become excellent in their researches, not those that they talk when they read from AI. That will be unfortunate as well. So I know I've not done enough justice to your question because AI use is a broad issue and a broad topic, but I will tell you to focus on your developing yourself. I use AI to do some analysis. I know R packages before AI came. So when AI came and I saw that there are things I don't need to think about, maybe AI makes this faster because I know R environment. I know how to use some of these things. But now there are people that have not developed themselves and AI have taken over from them. But for me, it has not taken over. We are all in it together. If you lie, I will tell you because I know it. So let's give attention to knowing it so that you can guide the use of AI in your own research. So let me end it here. I think there's another question on the chat.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. AI use is evolving, and at the same time, it's making us efficient in some areas, and also affecting our productivity in other areas. So, but as he has said, for young academics, the counsel will still remain mainly your cognitive mentality, and just use see AI as a research assistant more, where questions you should have asked, just ask AI, but be original in your thoughts. Be original. You could use AI as, look at this idea I'm thinking about. What do you think about this idea? So you can discuss with AI on that. But when it comes to writing, to improve on your writing, I keep telling my students to improve on your writing, don't use AI. Don't use AI as far as much as possible. But we're going to have a session for AI. Although we've had one in the past, we're going to have another session for AI for good, and how AI also affects us negatively as much as possible. So we'll have another person for question. So if you have somebody was raising up his hand, you can unmute yourself and ask question. That should be Chobe. Chobe. Yes, Chobe.
Good morning. Yeah, when I was doing my undergraduate, I saw some citation written with NCDC, WHO, and UNICEF. So I make such citations, but my supervisor rejected it. So I don't know if there are other ways or methods to make such citations with NCDC, WHO, and UNICEF.
Okay, just to understand your question.
I don't know why he rejected it because, am I responding?
No, go ahead.
No, I don't know why your supervisor today we can reference WHO, we can reference NCDC, but there could be reasons. Yes, I've written a draft manuscript to my German supervisor, and at the beginning of the introduction, I used WHO 3 times. He said, no, go and look for research work. I have over-referenced these people. and it's sometimes they want to see where the research was done, not WHO, policy statement. So there could be some things in the mind of the supervisor that's making him to reject that. I might reject it myself because I want to get you to go and read journal, go and read that research, not WHO and NCDC. So there could be reason for rejecting that. And for them, in my own training, they want you to mix it up, not just WHO and CDC and all these policy bodies, but please also include research work. And for your training, you need to read research work also, along line with the policy documents anyway. But it depends on what he has in his mind. So yeah, probably have changed the supervisor now, no longer that person. So you can ask the current supervisor again and what he thinks about it, and you flow along with him. Is that okay?
Yeah, but just to add, Prof, I also think it depends on how you cited the CDC site. If you are using EndNote, for example, there are proper ways to cite a web page. For example, there's a proper way to cite policy documents. Those are good documents. If you just, assuming you just copy the link, for example, you just copied the URL and pasted it there, that is wrong. Typically, it's not a good way. It depends on the kind of paper you're. If it's a thesis you're writing, that's not the proper way to cite them. When you're citing, particularly web pages, you should be able to talk about the dates you assess them and all of that. So it depends on how you cited it, also, and the frequency of citing. If all your citations are all URLs and policies, that's not a good way to cite your work. So I think it's something we should look at in future. I don't know if I have any other questions before we call it a day.
Like Naya Ephraim wants to ask.
Okay, Zachary, please. I think the last person, Zachary. I can't see her. So, in the absence of any other question, thank you very much, Prof, for your time. The recording will be uploaded today, and the link will be shared with you to share among your networks, and also to every other person that attended. You can share it. You can listen to it again. These are eternal truths that everybody must imbibe. And I thank you very much for coming out to share this priceless truth for the younger generation. It's going to outlive us because we'll make sure it's posted online. It's for posterity's sake as much as possible. So thank you very much for your time, Prof. And to everybody that found time to attend, thank you very much for coming. We'll call you again, especially to talk about AI and the things Prof talked about. So thank you very much for your time, and thanks for coming. Yes.
Thank you for having us, sir.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having